Hey everyone, it's Jazz here. Going to do a reading from the perspective of the Divine Feminine today. Just to give a bit of an insight into the perspective from the feminine's point of view. Just to let everyone know, sorry, I'm just getting in the zone now. Just to let everyone know, I do readings. I can do readings like I do with cards, or I can read photos, or I can do purely channeled readings. Get in touch with me on the details in the description, and we can go from there. I've had a lot of success with my readings too, by the way. A lot of predictions that I make have, well, yeah, just continually more and more predictions are coming true. So it's pretty exciting. So I'm just going to, there's a lot of cards coming out at the moment. I'm just going to start getting into the channeling now. So just as a feminine myself, now when we talk about twin flames, we're talking about, for me, I like to see it not just as everyone's just got one particular twin flame. I sort of like to think about the psychology around it instead, and what essentially twin flames do to each other is press. My throat chakra is very tight at the moment, so again with the breathing too, so I'm just going to keep breathing through this. It is takes courage to share perspectives of a journey, which is what I'm doing essentially, but exercising that throat chakra, which is really important. And there's so many people sort of looking for answers at the moment on this journey. I can see, because there's a lot of content on YouTube and probably everywhere else about this twin flame thing. I first discovered twin flames when, the concept of twin flames when well, I've consistently met people who have triggered me in various ways throughout my journey. And so I could say that I've had many twin flames in a way, because that's essentially what they've looked like. But it actually, I believe that a twin flame is sort of sent forward to, I'm not sure what I believe in terms of the twin flame concept, but what I'm trying to get at is that the connections that we attract into our lives always have a lesson for us, and it's our reactions to certain emotions that we're feeling that are trying to indicate to us that there's something deeper going on that requires our attention and our healing. And so I went through, just for me, I went through a really horrendous upbringing, and so I have a lot of neural pathways, for example, that need to be cleared and rewired, and memories that need to be healed and reprogrammed and things like that. So we all come from that background where we've got these neural pathways that are in place. So yeah, and so I have found that it doesn't matter it doesn't matter what this person sort of means to you, and the experience that you've had with them, and but what the most important thing to take from these experiences is that If we are having some sort of reaction to it, if it's triggering our nervous system in some way, then it means that we need to deeper explore those things. Okay, so and from a feminine's perspective, I tend to channel the masculine a lot. And in those readings, sometimes the feminine comes through as well, obviously. Things applicable to both, and that's always the way too. Anything that sort of applies to you in a divine masculine reading as a divine feminine could also could apply to you as well, because we have those energies within us. So I'm just looking at, okay, so I'm going to do it from I pulled these out to come from the perspective of the feminine. And I'm not going to pick up the cards unless I feel drawn. So there's this nostalgic feeling that the feminine are feeling, and they're feeling like it's one-sided, or they're feeling like, what I'm hearing is, I feel like I'm just going to say what I'm hearing. I feel like I found a soulmate, or I feel like I found my soulmate, however you want to put it. I feel like I have found a soulmate, and I feel quite nostalgic about our connection, and I'm not sure if you feel the same way. So the feminine is sort of feeling that, and as I'm channeling now, I'm starting to get quite warm. So if I'm fiddling around with my hair and adjusting myself, that's because I'm getting really warm. So, and you can notice that I have made a connection, so that's good. I'm starting to talk a lot, but the feminines are feeling a little bit alone, because yeah, okay, it's all coming out. Yeah, so the cards are all here and it's all gonna come out. And the feminine are trying to achieve or hang their hat on a certain perspective, because when we're trying to negotiate, here we go, the throat chakra, the cough. When we're trying to negotiate our pathways that have been programmed, you know, our past essentially coming up to haunt us when we've been triggered in these connections, we are looking for a perspective with the Hanged Man here that serves us, because that's really what it's all about. It's how we see it, and because we feel a certain way, we think, oh, that must mean that person doesn't care about me, so then I'm going to react, and I'm going to react to my emotion instead of waiting to, which I tend to do a lot. I act on my emotions, and I'm sure a lot of us do, whereas I think the masculine tend to suppress their emotions, then for fear, well, not emotions, but they suppress expressing them. They're hesitant to express them because of fear, and as I've mentioned before, I feel like the feminine energies have been able to openly express better than the masculine may be able to. But what the feminine are trying to do, here we go, is find a perspective that serves the whole condition of the connection. So, and then the communication comes out. So the communication card and the action card. So let's put it this way, our society has really become a very technologically advanced, and so communication has become a real focus, and there's even a real heightened focus for a lot of us on the text communication, or calling, or hearing from certain people that you may care about, or that you may be having a reaction to because you've come together, spent some time together, pushed each other's buttons a little bit, pulled apart, and pushed each other's buttons not in a bad way. I mean, we can have connections where our buttons are pushed and it's all been positive interactions, and there might have been a couple of, you know, tricky sort of situations, but it's actually brought out a lot of stuff for both parties, and that's essentially what they say the twin flame is. So I think when we get hung up on twin flame being a certain person, or, you know, I don't think that we should fall into that trap as such, because that's very limiting. But if we just look at it in terms of this person is pushing my buttons, it's not necessarily their fault. What's going on for me? How can I navigate this? So that's what we're talking about here. And it really is, you know, when it comes into matters of communication, it's really tricky, because it's a tricky can of worms, the communication thing, when we are in each other's company, or even if we are. Communication, this card of communication wants me to harp on a bit more about it. Basically, the most important thing I'm taking from this is that we honor ourselves and honor our feelings, and try not to blame the other person for their behavior, because we all need to recognize that everyone is going through their own journey. I am feeling that the masculine want to take some sort of action with this Knight of Swords here towards the feminine, who might be in a bubble at the moment, or it's that the Knight of Swords needs to be in the bubble too. The masculine might be in a bubble as well. And, you know, we have the Devil, and then we have the Lovers as well. So we've got some pretty cool cards here. And I'm seeing some cards that I was thinking about earlier, and I'm seeing some cards that have come out in previous readings, and some new ones. So I find that the cards tend to repeat themselves for a little while, and then further things will sort of come into the messages as we see the morphing of the connections and the overall leveling up of the consciousness on the planet of both energies. So the masculine are wanting to take action towards the feminine. It's not the right time. There's a lot of challenges in place. The Devil card is here, and everyone sort of freaks out when we say this Devil energy. It's it just means there's a lot of obstacles, a lot of temptations. There's a lot of okay, I'm hearing meddling energy, and when I hear something, I need to say it, otherwise it stays in my mind until I've said it. Meddling energies, there's a lot getting in the way of the connections, or, if you're watching this, obviously you're curious about the connections. You probably aren't in what they call union, so this is just a perspective of, I'm just going to say whatever comes through. It's not necessarily that I'm channeling anyone's particular energy either. I just need to say I am drawn to certain specific energies during readings, that people that I may have met, people that I may not have seen for a really long time, people that pop into my consciousness because there's something that needs to be said about their situation, that's relevant. So that's how it all works when I'm channeling. But the masculine and the feminine are really battling these obstacles, because the devil energy, the people who are trying to get under our skin, the people who have got under our skin in the past, the people who have caused us trauma, we have to get over all of that. We have to look into all of those things too in order to function better, in order to be able to communicate with people who are important to us. Because at the end of the day, everyone just wants this. The lovers. Everyone just wants, the camera's over there, but anyway, I'm looking, whatever. We just want harmony, peace, company. We want our passion to be acknowledged. We want to be able to explore our passion without fear of getting rejected and hurt, because with love comes a lot of risk, and that's basically the energy of where the masculine is at, but also the feminine. And I'm feeling, the feminine is working toward the feminine. The masculine is working towards this energy of being in control. So meaning having his ducks in a row. He's really working, because this is in reverse, so he's really working towards this Emperor energy of just so he can sit back. He's got a lot of work to do at the moment. Essentially what we all want is, you know, this happy ever after with the Ten of Pentacles here and the Lovers here as well. But in order to enter a new cycle, all of that needs to be dealt with and navigated, and we need to become the observer of our own mental space and our own actions and emotions to come back around into this zero energy. And zero is the Fool energy, and the Fool is all about there's many stages within the Fool energy, but for me what's coming through is getting to a place where you are free. Where you are free to move into whichever space you want to without restrictions of anything. And most of the time those restrictions are in our own minds and wrapped up in our own emotions and hearts, but a lot of them are also societal as well. So we all need to get into this gear in ourselves where we're ready to go forward momentum. And what's happening at the moment, so, you know, we're working towards this Fool energy, and the Fool energy there's going to be a new 0 point. There is going to be victory after the Tower moments. Here we've got the Tower card here, and then we've got the Victory card with the 6 of Wands here. So victory and Tower moments. So when I say Tower moment, I mean everything's being rearranged. Everything's being tossed up into the air. The dust is settling, and through all this will come a victorious period of, right, I got through that. But let's not mistake, healing is not something that you click your fingers and you're like, yeah, it's done, or it's done in a week or 2 weeks or 6 months or a year. Healing is constant, and depending on what you've been through, healing can be really intense at certain times. But the feminine want to walk away from the sadness, and they're starting to bring back their energy, because what can happen is it's not about power, and it's not about a power struggle in terms of energy and, you know, who you give your energy to. It's not like that for an awakened or a divine, an awakened energy. Pulling back energy simply means focusing more on the self. And what can happen in terms of the healing, just from my experience, is that we can project onto another person, excuse me, things. So basically a relationship or a situationship or a connection with another person that represents or can represent triggers for you in a safe-ish environment where you're not actually in physical danger, can actually provide someone who has been through the wars, mentally, emotionally, physically, a platform of healing to go through and look at issues that are coming up via that connection and that are being triggered. The healing and it will point to where the healing is required. So what's happening is, you know, the feminine needs to match the energy of the masculine. It needs to balance itself out, because, you know, the feminine can the feminine can throw so many projections at the masculine, or one person, the masculine can do the same with the feminine. Whatever it is, one person can throw a lot of projections onto the other, and it actually has very little to do with them. What that person who's being projected onto is going through is like trying to deal with their own stuff. Anything that's come up from the connection for them as well, most likely, and my hands are getting really hot. Look how red they are, they're so warm. And this person, you know, being bombarded by their own stuff, maybe here by, you know, the projections of the other person, by the lashings out from the other person, whether it's energetically, in the physical, spiritually, whatever it is, we're both feeling the weight. Each energies both feel the weight. And it's not about, oh, they don't care about me, I'm sick of them, and karmic partners and all this stuff. Sorry, plan, I keep doing that. But it's not about that. It's about owning your shit, taking initiative, making it your modus operandum, or whatever they call it. You're making it your MO of life, to get your shit together. Because the faster that we sort our shit out, the faster that we will get results. That's it. That's basically it, you know. But so that's where the feminine is at, and a quick rundown of how I view the twin flame relationship. And I put twin flames, you know, the words in my videos because it attracts the energies that I feel could benefit from the perspectives that I share. So yes. So what I'm actually feeling for the connection is this. So there has been with the Death card, there has been a major shift. I mean, we're going through some major shifts, and I don't know about the planetary alignments much. I don't know about moon cycles much myself. I mean, I love the moon. I know when it's a full moon, I'm fascinated. Doesn't matter what phase the moon's in, I love it. When I see it in the sky, I'm just, you know, I feel very, I always have felt a very strong affinity with the moon. And I was actually looking for my Moonology deck, which I think I may have misplaced somehow. So I'll be using that when I get a new deck. But anyway, but with this death card, both are leaving a lot behind. And I just got really warm. Yeah. There's a lot that's being left behind. And with this page of cups here that we've got. Oh. I'm just looking at this card, and there's these roses all over, or shells. Not roses, there's shells. But it looks like roses. I just feel like I'm getting warm again. Sorry, excuse me. I'm just channeling messages here. But there's the masculine I'm picking up here. I'm just picking up the vibe that they really want to come forward when everything has settled down a little bit. Once this healing is over, with the Nine of Swords in reverse, you know, once this healing is over, and it's getting there. So at the moment, there's a transformation, there's a death happening, like there's a rebirth happening, excuse me. And in this moment, both of them want to come together and sort of say, hey, I actually really care about you, but like at the moment, I can't even like process anything. I can't give anything. Sorry, I can't receive, I can't give. I just need to be. And really putting expectations on the other person doesn't work. We need to pay attention to our own backyards, and putting expectations, you know, on other people doesn't work. So what's actually coming through though, I'm hearing is a new path, a new opportunity, and an offer. I'm hearing in the physical, there's some energy that needs to be balanced out. I'm hearing, I don't know what that's regarding, but there's some, the masculine want to apologize and show the feminine how much they care about them, I'm hearing. But At the moment, you know, we've got the King of Pentacles in reverse, the Magician in reverse, the Two of Cups in reverse. So that's what's coming. But at the moment, the focus is on, you know, at the moment there's a transformation, there's a lot of healing, there's a lot of shifting, there's a lot of stuff happening, and they're working on, you know, they're going to come out transformed as the King of Pentacles. You know, they're going to come out victorious, you know, as the Magician. And the result will, both parties will have this happen, will be the union of energies. And this doesn't apply to everyone's connections. Some people are here for a season and only a season, and not for for a reason and a season, but only a season. And we can't look at it like there's only one person for every person. Yes, maybe the concept of twin souls does, maybe it is real. Maybe this whole twin split, this whole soul split into two, into, you know, incarnating at the same time or at different times, or however you want to see it. But it is all about that perspective, you know, having the right perspective to navigate it. And if we're putting all our eggs in one basket and putting all our eggs into one outcome with one person, this is where I'm getting to. It's not actually very wise. What this Two of Cups union represents is the energies being able to work together once they sorted out their stuff, but whether or not that actual incarnation of that energy is your person is how are we to know. So that just will only be proven with time. But I'm just hearing, you know, just for the feminine to be patient with the masculine, and the masculine to be patient with the feminine, because we're both fighting the battles with the Seven of Wands, and we're both trying to forge a new way of being, basically. That's all we're trying to do at the moment, isn't it? Yeah, so, oh God, oh, they came out. Oh, that's exactly what we're talking about. The Rhino Spirit, when I was shuffling these earlier, came out. And then the Dolphin Spirit, which means this and that are true, also just came out. And so that's what we're talking about. It's always about perspective. Always about perspective. Okay. So we've got overcome any obstacle, this and that are true, and clear out the clutter. So there we go. So it is all about perspective. It's all about clearing out that crappy perspective. It's about clearing those lines. I'm hearing clearing the ley lines, which is really interesting because that's energetic, but that ley lines are a concept on the planet of energetic lines between certain geographical spaces, but maybe it's a concept between the energies that the energetic lines will be cleared, and that's what we're doing at the moment. And I feel like this is for so we've got the take the lead and take a leap of faith cards here. And I feel like that's actually like a combined message. It's almost like when you're ready, take that leap of faith and lead the way. And to finish off, I'm just going to split the deck and see what we've got here. The emotion and the intellect. It's what I talk about, you know, both of those, the air, the mind and the emotion both work together to provide an external experience, and we need to master our own minds, our own reactions, our own intellect before we can master our environments. And that is what it's all about. I just wish to say also, just going to go into, that's the reading, and here is going to be a little bit of a personal channel and a bit of a personal insight, but if you're interested in that, keep going. But it gets easier, but just know that there's troughs, peaks and troughs in this journey. And, you know, sometimes the peaks are really big and sometimes the troughs are really big, but, you know, eventually they'll even out. So it's like achieving some sort of equilibrium between, you know, the peaks and the troughs and when they occur. And for those of us who have been through a lot of trauma, which souls generally are attracted to other souls who have had similar backgrounds. Not all the time, but if there are reasons for that, and that can be because each person sort of understands the other, you know, sees similarities in themselves, in the other person. And regardless of why we come together, that doesn't really matter. It's the what is happening that matters. And yeah, when there's been a lot of trauma in someone's life, you know, we need to be mindful of that. We need to be mindful of people's emotional and mental footprint and foundation, how they experience the life, how they experience others, what they're trying to achieve. We need to also remember that people don't always stay the same. Some people never learn or grow, mostly by choice and denying those lessons and that perspective. Don't want to look into the looking glass, and don't want to look in the magnifying glass. Don't want to look in the mirror, or don't want to look at their issues, and that's their choice. But those souls will just need to come back and do it all again. We're all at different stages in terms of where we're at on the on the spectrum of soul growth. The maiden. So the maiden came out before and obviously wanted my attention. So we've moved on from the maiden energy, or we're in the maiden energy. And I just need to look that up again. Number 2, the maiden, just to be reminded. Address self-imposed limits and restrictions. Seek your own answers. Release feelings of fear and abandonment, craving attention, needing rescue. Express goals and desires. Be true to self. Act with empathy. Okay, so this is all about childhood, transitioning from childhood to adulthood or early adulthood. Depending on where we're at, age means nothing. In terms of your soul growth or your overall where you're at, age is not an indicator of your maturity. It's not an indicator of your emotional maturity, your intellect. It's not an indicator of anything except how long you've literally been on the earth, where your soul comes from, and how old is your soul, and what it's endured, and, you know, those physical endurements, those physical endurances that we've been through since we've been on the planet, and then also everything that we've inherited from our lineage, wherever we came from physically. And then what we've got is our soul footprint or imprint, and whatever that carries with that, and the lessons within that. And there's a lot involved in it all, however you want to see it. That's how I see it. But here we have the potential blockage. Are you acting from a place of genuine love and desire to improve yourself? Or are you resisting because you want things to go your way without a care for others? It is not always possible to avoid hurting or saying no to those we care for, but we can say no with mindfulness, empathy, and understanding. Be firm but kind. Be clear when expressing your desires and goals. Take into account the needs and feelings of others and avoid behavior that makes you appear childish or selfish. Avoid, sometimes we can't help it. This behavior will not help others to understand your decisions or respect your choice to walk your path. Well, that's really interesting, and that might be a perspective, but I feel like that's, a bit like switch on the light switch and don't be a child or don't be selfish anymore. It doesn't work like that. There are processes that we need to go through, but we're moving out of that energy. So this is all about focusing on that, and we actually are moving out of it. 5 of Pentacles came out before, and the 5 of Wands, 4 of Swords, Chariot, all of them. But the 5 of Pentacles here, so these have come out in previous readings, and then they were coming out when I was shuffling as well, but they were flicking it over when I was shuffling all the decks. But the 5 of Pentacles, this one's pretty important. So this person's quite sad, and there is a key there that they can use to get out of this door. But sometimes we just need to be in the sadness. Sometimes we don't realize that there is a way out of the sadness as well. So when we're feeling it, we feel like it will last forever. It won't last forever. If you feel sad for a week, it's okay. It's not going to last forever, a day or 3 months, but it will shift. And I think the message is we just need to pay attention to what these tricky times are telling us here. Like we're all aiming for that ball of fire up there, and we don't want to hurt each other while we're doing it. So we really need to focus in on how we operate and how we treat each other, but at the same time put those boundaries in place and put that time aside to work on the healing. I'm just going to see if there's any last messages. So the feminine, there's this, I just heard this voice, and it might be the feminine or masculine, but I'm not sure where it's coming from, but it said, don't you want to talk to me? Now, that could be, that's obvious, when people aren't in communication with each other, that's obviously how they feel. But we need to remember that it's not all about someone wanting to talk to us or not. People do things for many different reasons. Just because we can't see it or understand it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, doesn't mean it's not possible to be what they're going through. Just be mindful and take it easy. And take it easy on yourselves when you mess up or you do something that you feel is really embarrassing, or you're falling backwards, or you're just floundering. Like, it's not about falling backwards or moving forwards or it's about making progress overall, but we're always going to have to take some baby steps, and we're always going to tumble a little bit when we're learning to do things differently. Rewiring that brain takes time. So yeah, thanks guys. Yeah, if you want to contact me, the details are below, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.